Celebrity Court of Public Opinion.
And I'm Al Reynolds, your host and judge.
Each show, there are 4 celebrity cases, 3 real attorneys, 1 verdict, guilty or not guilty. This is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion.
A-listers, come on in here. A-listers, come on in here. It is Friday Eve. That's right. It is Thursday, June the 11th, and we're only 2 days away from my birthday. That's right. You heard me correctly. It's my birthday. I'm a Gemini. Saturday, June 13th is my birthday. So glad to be here with you this Thursday night. And let's check the chat real quick because we got what? A super chat already. A super chat from Caramel 1977 Cancer. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for starting the show off right, everybody. You can follow her lead if you know what I mean. Let's see who else we have in here tonight really quick. We have Pisces Unicorn. Welcome back. Sandra McGee. Let's go, Knicks. That's right, Pisces Unicorn. You know I'm a Knicks fan. Brenda K, come on in. Everybody, come on in. Come on in. Jason Weiss is joining us tonight. Okay, I see Essie Stone, New York Marie Colette Davis, Brian and Simone, Kim Hayes, Spar 5132. Come on, Sandra McGee. Thank you so much for the super chat. All right, we really starting it right tonight. Rita Blunt 5266. Come on in. Kim Hayes, come on in. Everybody, come on. Lathea Robinson Smith. I haven't seen you in a while from St. Louis. Come on in. Guess what, everybody? Tonight, you know what it is. 4 celebrity cases and 1 human story, human interest story, and 1 question that's in every headline. When are these celebrities going to stop being legally sued? Well, we're going to come, well, hopefully never, because that's what the show is all about. But anyway, first up tonight, we have Zahara Jolie has filed to legally drop Pitt from her name. Ooh, this is big. And that's a family statement in court paperwork. If I've never seen one, Diddy, he's facing, welcome back, Diddy, to Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Diddy is facing a lawsuit accusation involving a minor. And guess what? The internet is already trying to convict in the comments. All right, then we're going to talk about the story that's burning up Texas. Texas Tech's Brendan Sorsby got a judge's injunction to play despite an NCAA gambling rule. And coaches and ADs are blowing their tops. All right, you've heard it before because DaBaby's been in this courtroom many times. DaBaby's bowling alley brawl lawsuit has finally settled, which means there's no trial, but does mean a check was written. And our human interest story tonight is just has the internet on fire and has definitely broken my heart. I can't wait to see where some of you stand on this. But we're going to close out our human interest story with Carmelo Anthony because he was found guilty and sentenced to 35 years. And the community is still arguing what justice looks like. Now, remember, this is not a press conference. This is not spin. This is definitely not mercy, not in our courtroom. This is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion where I bring the mess, my attorneys bring the law, and the jury decides, that's you, my A-listers, you decide who's guilty and who's not guilty. I'm Judge Al Reynolds, and tonight, the docket is filthy. Now, before we get into tonight's legal foolishness, do me a favor, hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the share button and invite some friends over to enjoy the show. Don't forget to turn on your notifications as we show you here. And don't forget to always jump down in those comments because we love to hear from you. And if you're watching live, tell me where you're watching from. I always like to know where people are watching. And give me your first gut reaction on some of these cases. Who's guilty and who's not guilty? I don't want your careful answers. I don't want the lawyer's answers. I just want your messy instinct from the jump of the show. All right. And of course, I'm not in the courtroom alone. Joining me tonight, I have 2 legal beagles. We have attorney Sean Carter. Well, I guess we have a 3rd legal beagle who is late. I have Sean Carter, Brian Ross, Jason Weiss.
Hey, Turner, what's up?
Yeah,
man?
yep.
How you doing, Mr. Turner?
Welcome back to Celebrity Court, fellas.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
So which of us is not the beagle?
I need precision, and frankly, I need one of you guys to stop me if it gets too messy over here, but honestly, that's probably not going to happen. All right, counsel, good to have you because tonight I'm not just looking for legal analysis. I'm looking for a legal reality. I can't wait to hear what some of your thoughts are on this story. And last but not least, one more thing. We've officially launched a brand new Instagram page for the show at Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go over there and hit that follow button. I also need you to drop down in the DM and let us know some of the cases that you would like for us to cover. Remember, this IG page is where the jury keeps talking after the show ends. This is also where we post updates, case clips, and the legal mess in real time. So go follow it. You can always tag it and share it because court may adjourn here, but public opinion never clocks out. All right, don't forget, this is not about power. This is about proof and accountability and what we think. All right, quick legal note. Allegations are not convictions, and everyone discussed tonight is presumed innocent in a court of law. But in this courtroom, we don't need that necessarily because this is celebrity court of public opinion. We're here to examine behavior. We're here to examine optics, exposure, and whether the public has already made up in our mind who should be found guilty or who should not. All right, let's start with the first case tonight, attorneys. We're going to start with Zahara. Now, E reports that she's filed a petition to drop Pitt from her name. All right, that's because her dad is Brad Pitt. Now, people act like name changes are just paperwork. But guess what? It's not that simple. No, they're public messages with legal ink. All right, let's go to you, Attorney Carter. Tell us what's going on here. Now, this, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the children that Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie adopted. I think they adopted a total of 6. So tell us the story here and what's going on. Why does she want this name change?
Apparently, she did not like her daddy. By the way, nobody in that family seemed to like Brad. I think he's going to change his name because 3 of the older kids have already changed their name. Only 2 kids are still using the Pitt name are the 2 minors who can't change their name yet. And by the way, just so we understand, the name change process is really simple. You know what? It's about as complicated as changing your relationship status on Facebook. You fill out some forms, all right? You spell your name right. And the only reason you'll ever get stopped is if they think you're trying to like hide from creditors or whatever, but you're 22, you don't have anything or own anybody. She'll be able to get that change immediately. My question though, for the 2 kids who steal the 2 minors, kids, think about this. All right. That man got $250 million. All you got to do is keep his name to get your half of that. The hell, matter of fact, Brad, if they change their name, I will be Brad. I'll be Pitt. I'll be Pitt. All 3 of my names. Pitt. All right. I'll take all your names for about $65,000.
All right. So let me answer this, Attorney Weiss. So it's just that simple. I just fill out a form and it happens. I mean, do I have to get consent from anybody to make this happen, or can the courts ever say no?
So she's 22 years old, so she is no longer a minor, and she can go ahead and do it. The court can say no, but usually, they ask like 3 questions, like, are you aware you're doing this? Are you sure you want to do this? And, are you doing it for any fraudulent or nefarious reasons? And you say, yes, I know. Yes, I want to do this. No, I'm not doing it to avoid, creditors and to commit fraud. And the judge is going to go, okay, great. And that's it. It's finished. It's done. You need nobody's permission. The minors would need permission, and I don't think that would be allowed. But consenting adult, she could do what she wants.
All right, let's go to you, Attorney Ross. This just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Is the hate that strong, or does she not understand the privileges that could actually come with having the Pitt name? What do you think this is all about?
Wasn't there some airplane flight they were on a PJ in 2016 and Brad was faded, right? He was faded. He has a long history with alcoholism. He's admitted to it. He said, I don't remember a day since college where I didn't drink something. So he went to rehab, and I'm very happy about that. But on the plane, he was faded. And according to the FBI, right, he tried to slam Angelina's head into a bathroom wall. And the kids intervened. Yeah, look it up. The kids intervened, and he allegedly choked one of the kids. The pilot had to get involved. Did you say
killed? Did what?
Choked. And the pilot had to get involved. FBI got involved because what? Anything that happens on the ocean or the air is called the high seas, which gives federal jurisdiction. And that led to this tenuous breakup between Brad Pitt and his kids. His relationship wasn't the same with them at all. The court awarded temporary, he has visitation with the youngest ones, but the oldest ones, they're estranged. They don't have a relationship with them at all. It's really sad.
So do you think it's only because of that incident, or do you think it's just a lot of pressure being the adopted daughter of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie? Because I can imagine that there's a whole lot of questions around whether she's getting it because of her parents or is she getting it because she deserves it. What are your thoughts, Attorney Carter?
I'm not really sure. You know, to me, this is just a weird thing because I get, by the way, you could be mad at your daddy, all right? But you know, when I was a young kid, I didn't know any better, right? I thought my dad was a monster because he actually, you know, was a good father, right? But it never occurred to me to change my name to Johnson, right? I would, and so these kids, you know, I don't know why they would, but here's the thing about this. By the way, understand that we call her Angelina Jolie. You know that's not her name, right? Her original last name. Her original last name is Voight. So she got kind of a history of throwing away daddy's name, right? And so I imagine that you know, this is just, you know, a family tradition now. If we get old, we just take our daddy name and get a new name.
It's ratchet, but Judge, it's ratchet. He wrote a poem about Angelina talking about how she lost all this weight and she became depressed, and he focused on surrounding her with love and doing things for her, and she came back. Now they break up, and I'm not saying she's convincing the kids to do it. They're adults. They got their own mind. But now that we on the All Men show, and Miss Turner, wherever you're at, I hope you're watching because this is for you.
You better watch out. Miss Turner got some fans in this chat, baby.
This is for Miss Turner and her fan club. Okay? And I'm talking about you behind your back. Okay? We know that there's an element where baby mamas will turn their kids against their daddy.
That's right.
So I'm wondering is just years of your dad is terrible. Your dad is this. Your dad. I'm not saying she said that, but in my experience as an attorney, I've seen it. So I'm wondering if that's a little bit of this. And when they get to be a certain age, they hate their daddy. Let's remind you something. Y'all was adopted. He didn't have to do it.
That's what. Listen,
he didn't have to do it.
I was going to say that, Attorney Ross. Like, I don't know that I would be biting the hand that saved me from that concentration camp that they used to live on. That's a tough pull right there. I just feel like it could have been a smarter way. It could have been
at least deserves a Father's Day card once a year, people.
All right. Attorney Weiss, what are your thoughts on this case?
I don't see the reason behind it. I mean, if she really doesn't like him that much, you know, eventually she'll probably get married, so she could have a name change at that point in time. And if it's to avoid the press, changing it from Pitt to Jolie, that's going to help you avoid the press. So,
right. Yeah,
you know,
that's what I'm thinking too. I guess it's more of her letting her dad know how much she doesn't like him. I mean, I guess this is more of a protest, right? Of her independence, in that she doesn't like how her family was treated and her mother was treated. So, all right, let's go to the A-listers. Let's go to the jury. Jury, drop down in the chat. What do you think about this? Are you in support of her having Zahara having her name changed or having Pitt taken off? She definitely kept Jolie. What are your thoughts on this? Drop down in the chat. I need to know. And also, we got another super chat. Kim Hayes. Kim Hayes, thank you so much for the super chat. Kim Hayes, thank you so much for the super chat. And also, a couple of people had asked in the comments on Monday. They wanted to know what my Cash App was for my birthday. So I've had the bailiff. Bailiff, please put up my Cash App. This is my Cash App, everybody. So if you want to escape the fee that you have to pay on YouTube and you want to send me a birthday little something, use that Cash App right there. That's the money sign Al Scales. That's ALSCALES. That's money sign Al Scales. ALSCALES. Let's get down to some of these chats here. We have David 62151 says hello. Nisha Phillips, are you here? Miss Rail is here. Come on in. New York Marie, come on in. Boys Club tonight. Yes, it is. Esther Stone said it's raining men. Woohoo. JP Mills says, hey. Essie Stone says, hey, Brian. Colette Davis says, midnight. All right, good to see Attorney Ross. Spar 5132 says it's going to be a great show. You already know we're going to talk junk tonight. Doreen Pierce says, hi, Al. Happy birthday. Thank you so much. Doreen Pierce also said, good to see you, Attorney Ross. Essie Stone said, happy birthday, Al. We're wishing you a very blessed and wonderful birthday. Thank you so much Vernice Johnson, come on in here. He hasn't been a father to her. The minors are Brad's biological children. Okay. And the only ones that's changed their names were the adopted ones. Oh my God, they got a coalition going on. That seems pretty crazy to me. Billy Little 718, he has chosen to be a stranger to those kids. That's sad. I don't even like to hear those types of stories, to be honest with you. Colette Davis says, don't hate on Shaitan, Brian. I told you it was coming, sir. I told you it was coming. Brenda K says their mother has plenty of cash as well. Yes, she does. Caramel 1977 says, why isn't Brad speaking? They need Albania's Van Zan. All right, and then I cannot pronounce this young lady's name. I'm going to call her JJ. I'm here too, Al. It's pronounced Wana. Oh, Wani. Wani. Yes, the last two are biologically his. Wani. All right, Wani, good to know the last two are biologically his. All right, from a quiet legal message to a headline accusation that the internet treats like a verdict. All right, P. Diddy or Love, whatever you're going by this month. Welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Man, stay in court, man. Stay in court, doesn't he?
All right, this IG post that we're showing you right now says that Diddy has been accused in a lawsuit of sexually assaulting a minor. Is that a surprise? Allegedly. And this is exactly why legal headlines are dangerous. To claim is one thing and the evidence is another. All right, I think we have a video. Bailiff, take it away.
A former child actor has accused Sean Diddy Combs of sexually assaulting him back in 2007 at a networking event in the Hollywood Hills. Now, Sean Combs denies this, but let me walk you through the allegations. This former child actor says that they met Sean Combs at this networking event, and he started making small talk with him, telling him that he had some projects in mind for him. That's when, according to the lawsuit filed this week in Los Angeles, that Sean Combs took this minor actor into a back room, and that is where he says that he sexually assaulted him.
All right, let's go to you, Attorney Carter. This is pretty salacious, but it seems to be like a common undercurrent or a theme that's going on with this whole Diddy in trouble with the law. But when you have allegations involving, older events that are years ago, what evidence categories matter most to prove or disprove the claims?
Right. Now, before we get to that, let's just be clear about one thing that was not said in the report there. It said everything that needed to be said except for the nature of the assault. And I don't want to be graphic about this, but according to the plaintiff here, Diddy pulled down his pants and gave the young man some oral hospitality. I'm just going to put it that way. Okay. Now, here's the thing is, 10 years, that was over 10 years ago. And at this point, right, the forensic evidence is gone. Diddy has certainly brushed his teeth since then, right? I'm not sure what to do. Pray for me, please. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do in that case, but I do know that, this is going to be a problem. And really, it's going to come down to how nasty do you think Diddy is? Right. And also the other thing that's going to be interesting is we don't know who this child star was. And the question is, how has your career been going since then?
Right.
Because I got to tell you, if I don't get these next 2-3 contracts I'm looking at, Diddy did some stuff to me back in 83.
83.
All right, let's go to you, Attorney Weiss. Let me ask you this question, because this is a civil case as we know it. Given that Diddy has clearly a horrible credibility issue, right, with all the other stories and lawsuits, civil, criminal, that are just plaguing his entire public relations timeline, how do you handle civil cases when it comes to credibility, when his credibility is already ruined? Does this hurt him, or are people already deciding who's right and who's wrong here, or how does this work?
So, I think he's legally changing his name. He's going to take a step from Brad Pitt's daughter to P. Did It. And that's what we think as the community. We're now immune to it, right? The first time it came out, we're all in shock. The second time, oh my God, I can't believe. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, it keeps coming down. So he's no longer P. Diddy, he's P. Did It. And we're numb to it at this point in time. It's just another one, and that's it. And the victims are saying P did me. So I don't know.
All right, attorney Ross. I don't know that I'm numb to it. I think that if I was sitting on a jury, or if I was sitting and I had to decide, if I was a judge, I would be leaning to already knowing what I believe. Right? I don't think I would be numb to it. I think I would be a little bit like, oh, he's a shyster. I would believe it. So if you were representing Diddy on this case, Attorney Ross, what would be your defense?
First of all, where has he been since 2007? All right. He brings this 19 years after it allegedly happened. It allegedly happened at a networking event. I've never been to a networking event where it was only networking with me and another person. So how am I able to pull this child into a room without? So any room I walk into, everyone's looking at me. I was able to pull this child away without his parents or her parents, his parents, whatever have you.
His parents.
And no one else saw this. And then he alleges I proceeded to perform oral intimacy on him for 5-10 minutes. How is that even possible? It doesn't even sound plausible that it would happen. It sounds like we may have had some sort of professional relationship, and his family sees an opportunity, and they're taking advantage of that. His publicist said it was a lie. So that's I'm not saying that it's not true. I am saying that it seems a little bit opportune.
Got it. Okay. Well, you're not the only one to think that. I think AJEAR Lee, what's that? AJ Early is saying it's no. Spar 5132 says it's a money grab. AJ Early 2983 says they're lying. That's why. Brenda K says, I guess people think Diddy is Elon Musk with cash. Sorry, I don't believe this one. Yeah, this one's sounding kind of crazy. All right, so let me ask you, attorneys, is it possible because this obviously a lot of people feel like this is a money grab. Is it possible that the public can hold two truths at once? Like take the allegations seriously or wait for proof or not believe it like a lot of our viewers are saying right now that they feel it's a money grab?
Well, look, I mean, it's very common for us as a society, non-attorneys and all of that to say, you know what? I think Diddy has done all of these things in the past, but this one I think is a money grab. And you can definitely differentiate between the two, right? You listen to it. This is 2007, 19 years. This is somebody who might be in Hollywood. Now, all of a sudden he's coming out because everybody else is coming out and saying this. Well, shoot, I met Diddy one time in an event, so I can go ahead and make the same allegation. So I think as a general public, I don't think we're shocked to hear these things that's going on. But at the same time, we can still make an informed decision where, look, this one's a money grab. Maybe the other ones aren't.
All right, this is a good point. Christine R. Jason, one of your besties is saying, could it be Justin Bieber? Just curious. I think a lot of people in the chat are saying, could it be Justin Bieber? So whether it was Justin Bieber or not, jury chat, what do you think? Do you think this is a money grab? Well, if it was Justin Bieber, it wouldn't be a money grab, right? Because he's got more money than Diddy, right? No. But just in general, guys, what do you think? Drop down in the chat, my A-listers, jury, what do you think? Is this a money grab? What do you think? Is this a money grab, or do you believe that Diddy was, added at the time? Because in 2007, allegedly, if you read those court documents, he was quite busy. I don't know. Jump down I want everybody to jump down in the chat and let me know. All right. And before we get to our third case of the evening, do me a favor. Be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit that share button. Also, don't forget to turn on your notifications. That's very important. Follow us at Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, still trying to get to 200. And as always, continue to join us down in the chat and join the fellas night tonight with their perspective. All right, so let's go from allegations to a sports scandal where judge just changed the entire season. Yes, you heard me correctly. Listen to this. A judge granted an injunction allowing Brendan Sorsby to play while he's in treatment for gambling addiction after the NCAA deemed him highly ineligible for overbetting, including on his own team, even though he wasn't on the field, according to the reports. All right, Sean Carter, break this whole story down for us because I'm still amazed. Nope, Actually, before you break it down to us, let's throw to the bailiff. Bailiff, you have a video for us to see. Let's see it.
College sports reached a new low today. A judge in Lubbock County, Texas, ruled that Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby is eligible to play this year. That means that judge took away the NCAA's power to enforce its own rules that athletes cannot bet and they can't bet on their own teams. This should have been an open and shut case. Brendan Sorsby broke the rules. He bet on his own team when he was at Indiana, and the NCAA ruled him ineligible.
This is interesting. Oh, this is going to get hot. All right, Sean Carter, break this down for us. What happened?
Yeah, and I get that. Now, let's be clear. The court took a different tact here. And what they said was, by the way, this young kid had placed 10,000 bets in the course of his college career. And so the judge says, hey, you got a problem. All right. You are addicted to gambling. And therefore, there's kind of a medical exemption here. You know, we don't punish people for addiction. Also, the judge took into effect that he's going to be playing quarterback. And apparently for Texas Tech, and apparently this judge is a booster or really likes Texas Tech or got his own money on Texas Tech, because he said, hey, they're going to pay you $5 million. You might go to the pros. So I don't want to ruin your whole life. So I'm going to issue an injunction. And in this case, injunction means don't do that anymore. So the NCAA said our rule is you can't play. And what the injunction says is no. We're going to pull that off, and he gets to play. It's a bizarre ruling, and it means, very importantly, and I'll listeners understand this. If you, for instance, are driving drunk, all right, and Uber takes away your license, you need to drive drunk about another 10 more times. And that way you could say you have a medical issue, and they'll have Uber have to give you back your keys. And I'm being ridiculous, but that's the point that people are making. This is a ridiculous argument that says that because he bet so much, you got to let him break all the rules of the game because he just couldn't help himself.
It's terrible.
All right, let's go to you, Attorney Ross. Explain to me, because when I'm hearing this type of stuff, like he said, kind of, wouldn't this set precedents that the NCAA has to revisit their rules?
Yeah, the precedent it set is that if I live in Texas and I get caught gambling, as long as I go to rehab, I can play again. Right? That's the precedent it set. As long as I go to rehab, I can play again. And I hope Chauncey Billups and other people get the same rule. Lawyers, it's ridiculous. Like, you bet on your own game that you were playing in. So now you send a message to anyone else, it's okay to gamble. So it's a spiraling effect, Judge, because now the other teams in the Big 12 are saying we're not going to play Texas Tech. What does the Texas Attorney General do today? Sends a memo to all the Big 12 schools and say, if you don't stick to your schedule, you're in violation of antitrust laws, and you could be up to damages of $200 million. What? Jeez. How is that possible?
He's not alone.
I play on if I play on that team, how do I know baby boy ain't bet on the game and trying to throw the game and get paid on the side? Come on,
right,
man. It's the most ridiculous thing I've seen.
His attorneys did say that he never bet on his team when he was playing, and when he did bet on his team, he always bet to win. He never threw any games, and he never, tried to do any point shaving. So wait. I
thought he did bet on his team.
When he wasn't playing, and only to win.
When you say, hold on, let me ask my question, please. When you say was not playing, you mean in the game or during the game?
He was not the quarterback of the team during that game, and he went ahead, and those are the games he bet on his team
let me
to
ask
win.
the question one more time, please. All right, so they're in the fourth quarter. He's tired. He's taken out the game.
He's never in the game. No. He's never in the game. He sucks. He's on the bench.
The game is scheduled to start at 1 p.m. He is not going to be playing in the game. He places his bet at 12:30 in the afternoon.
But he's still on the team.
Yes.
Okay, what? Just because he's not in the game doesn't make it any better.
It doesn't make it much better, but think about it. Think about it. If I was on the team, I could bet anything too, because quite frankly, I ain't gonna never get out there either, right? And so he said, I suck too much to really matter, right? How much this matters, because he was on the practice squad at one point. They don't even give him a uniform. He's just out there with shorts, right? And he's like, I can bet on this game just like anybody else. It's a bad argument. You shouldn't be able to bet at all, all right? And 10,000 times the thing is, why do you even want this guy to get money? Because you know where it's going. It's going to whatever that DraftKings.
And Judge.
All right, Attorney Ross, let me ask you this. Is this a pissing contest on who's got the biggest whatever between the courts and the NCAA? What's going on here?
This is at its best. I can only frame this as a Texas good old boy cowboy rodeo. We're Texas. NCAA doesn't control us. We paid this young man. He got five. What? And help me out. Was the NIL deal, wasn't it like $5 million or something?
$5 million for this year, for this season.
Yep. $5 million for one season to leave Cincinnati, where he played 1 year, to go play at Texas. And when he got there, he was ineligible to play, according to the NCAA. So now Texas Tech, even though they didn't join the lawsuit, has an incentive to see him get on the field.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure I understand what's going on here in sports, okay? Because the Saunders kids got hell for the basic stuff that they were doing, which was not illegal. No. However, this little boy who sucks is able to get away with this and get the bagging of a judge that says anybody that goes against him got to pay $200 million in fines. All right, what's going on? Somebody, I'm going to say Weiss. Weiss, help me out here.
How can I help you, Your Honor?
I don't know. Tell me something. Give me a reason, something that I can believe in.
I don't have an explanation for this one. Look, the only thing I could say is it's not illegal to bet on football games, but you can't bet on football games while you're playing in them. And even if you're going to say that your team is going to win. So look, this is a bad look. It's a bad look for Texas Tech. It's a bad look for this judge. Hopefully I will never be in front of this judge. And if I am in front of this judge, Your Honor, you're completely correct. And everything you say and do is absolutely correct. But putting that aside, it's mind blowing how they're just going to say, because you've bet so much, you have an illness. I get that. And I agree with that. But we're going to let you go ahead and play. That's where the problem is.
Attorney Ross, this doesn't sound like compassion for addiction, if you ask me. This sounds like a dangerous loophole that makes rules optional based on what a judge feels personally.
What's the NCAA supposed to do, right? They have a rule. If you play college sports, which I hope some of you did here, they tell you right away, you can't bet on games. You can't. Correct. It's like broadcast into your brain that you can't bet on your own game. Why? Because let's suppose the lineman, who's the best lineman, is hurt, and we don't put that information out there. You know that he's hurt. So you have insider information that other people don't have. You strategically destroy the playing field of betting, even if you don't throw the game. So you can't just go out there and bet. The fact that he said he went to rehab and the judge writes an order will destroy his chances in the future. No, it wouldn't. He got $5 million. He all right. He can graduate from college, from Texas Tech, and try his chance in the NFL. If he that good, they'll let him play.
Yeah, no NFL team.
I thought he was bad. Why are we protecting a player that never plays?
He won the debut.
Why are we sending a player that never plays to rehab and saying
he's gotten better over the years, and he was supposed to be Texas Tech starter this year. But the thing is, it's I'm just at a loss for words. I mean, look, no NFL team is going to say, you know what, you bet on college games, you're a phenomenal player, we're not going to take it. They're not going to do that, right? So it's just going to be that he would have had to sat out the season. And I have a feeling boosters were complaining, hey, look, we spent $5 million on this kid. We need our money's worth.
I'm just going to say this. Now, I don't know what happened.
Okay.
The judge here happens to be an elected official, where they elect their judges there in Lubbock, Texas, which is where Texas Tech is. So I imagine this judge decided if he'd ever like to be a judge again, he better make sure the football team is decent this year.
Okay, you guys
hypothetically.
You guys have gotten me so upset in the chat on the bench tonight. Okay, let's go back for 1 second because I only got 1 more minute here. Okay. First, you said he wasn't playing, he was horrible. Then you saying he betted 10,000 times. Now you're saying he gotten better and he's good.
Yes.
Did the boy bet while he was good or getting good, meaning he was playing?
Ding, 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 ding. Let me give you.
Okay, so that's a yes or no?
Yes, he played at Indiana. He was betting on games,
but he was not playing.
Cincinnati. He was betting on games, his own games. Then they found out he was betting because Knucklehead put it on social media.
Oh, Jesus. Correct. Then he left Cincinnati and came to Texas?
They gave $5 million to enter the transfer portal to go play Texas Tech. And in between those two times, he got found out and they suspended him. And he filed a lawsuit to be able to play. That's the drama. And the judge in the good old boy network of Texas decided that was a good move for him. That's what happened.
This is insane to me. Okay. All right. Let's go to our A-listers. A-listers, what do you think about this case? Should he be allowed to play? Or should he have to complete rehab before he's allowed to play? Drop down in the chat. I need to know, should he be allowed to play while in rehab? Or does it make more sense for him to complete rehab and then play? Drop down in the chat. I want to know what you guys think. In the meantime, let me read a few of these comments here. All right. Ava Neva 78 says NIL deals. Christine R says he has the complexion for the protection. Billy Little 718 says this is a silly argument. Read a lotto ticket. There are always exclusions. They really are. My John CJ Boy says Texas and Caucasians. That's all that needs to be said. I guess you're right. Texas and Florida, they just do the craziest things. Sandra McGee 5089 says you got it, Brian. This is a lot going on for me. Glammy Brown 1002 says Texas has some horrible rulings lately. It's Texas. And then Blaze Brown 9102 says complete rehab, then play. Okay, I like it. All right, from legal injunctions to a settlement that quietly ends a loud fight. Yep, you know he's been here before in Celebrity Court. DaBaby, welcome back to Celebrity Court. Now, TMZ reports DaBaby's bowling alley brawl lawsuit has been settled and it will be dismissed. Now, don't forget, this is his baby mama's brother. Now, settlement means no verdict, but it also means somebody had to write a check to make it go away. All right, Attorney Carter, talk to me about this DaBaby settlement. What's going on here and how did we get here?
So 2002, DaBaby's in a bowling alley, runs into Brandon Curiel, who happens to be, like you said, his baby mama's brother. And Curiel had been on the internet saying that DaBaby ain't shit, because he ain't. And then DaBaby got mad, you see here, and starts coming after, this is DaBaby now, coming after this guy. He don't know how to punch. He punches his juice or whatever, but he's got boys. So all of his boys come and beat up this guy and give him injuries. They say slam his head into the ground, which they do a few times. And he's had these permanent injuries. And so he sues basically the baby mama's brother sues DaBaby and the bowling alley and says, you know, DaBaby ain't got no sense. You weren't supposed to let him in here with me because you ain't supposed to let this fool in here with respectable people. So y'all owe me money too. And chances are excellent that what happened is that the bowling alley has insurance, liability insurance, and they probably settled up to whatever their limit was and paid off this guy so he would go away. And so DaBaby is now free to act a fool tomorrow, and he'll be out there punching somebody else tomorrow.
Oh, that sounds crazy. All right, let's go to you, Attorney Weiss. What does notice of settlement mean, and why was that so important to mention it here?
So a notice of settlement is merely a paper that you file with the court and you say, hey, judge, we don't need to go further on this case. We've got a settlement worked out. We've got deal points worked out. Most of the time you ask for an additional 30 or 60 days to wrap it up so you could draft it up, make your edits, and have each party sign it. So that's all it's saying. It's basically a flag to the court. Hey, you don't need to pay attention to us anymore. We think we've got this resolved on our own. Go focus on other cases.
All right, let me ask you this really quickly, Attorney Ross. Is a settlement a smarter move in this case, or do you really think they were also afraid of discovery?
Well, they were afraid of discovery because there's a lot there. That video is horrific. I mean, first of all, they're out there like they're on an ice skating rink because if you ever been bowling, that's a slippery part. So no one can stand up straight. They all look crazy, gold teeth flying all out of their mouths. They look terrible. No one had the common sense to get off that part of the bowling alley. Start there. 2 is 6-on-1, whatever the number is. I don't know what that was about either, but this is clearly a hostile and horrible situation. The bowling alley absolutely had I bet their insurance tendered. Like, look at this. Look at this guy. A horrible punch with a cigarette. I mean, this is the worst, man.
So let me ask you the question here: is if we know that he sued both the bowling alley and DaBaby, if the bowling alley settled and DaBaby didn't, would we still be talking about it? Would it still be in the court system?
Yeah, it was. They're two separate entities. Matter of fact, the bowling alley probably settled quicker than DaBaby, right? The bowling alley lawyer looked at it and were like, tender, right? Yep. They usually just alligator, so you know, usually there's $1 million on these policies, right? Business insurance. So the word you hear a lawyer say, yeah, they're going to tender, TENDR. He's talking or she's talking about the insurance company is going to give their policy limits to us to close this out. And so they don't want anything to do with the DaBaby situation. They actually want to move away as far as they can from that guy.
Attorney Carter, what was do you remember the original amount the young man was suing for? I can't seem to.
It was unspecified. He wanted, as much as y'all jury want to give me. So he never said amount. I looked for that. And quite frankly, this is the kind of thing that happens a lot. It's sad because the problem is that DaBaby thinks now, hey, I should go ahead and beat up everybody. Matter of fact, he was on the thing. I love this. His defense on the Breakfast Club was he started it. He attacked me and my 7 boys. Like, ignorant stuff, right? You got 300 witnesses. We know nobody's that stupid. And DaBaby, by the way, has been in the 3 or 4 things since then. Remember back in the day, he shot a fool at Walmart. And the tapes came out just recently showing that he was one who started the fight. DaBaby likes to do a lot of stuff, and he's not going to be the DaBaby long.
Right. I think he's also trying to clean up his act because he's trying to come back seriously with music. All right, from a human interest. All right, from a. I'm not going to say that. Okay. All right. Last case tonight.
Very smart, Your Honor. Very smart, Your Honor.
Right. It's definitely not a laughing matter at all. We have a human interest story for our last because this is the one that I think personally is bigger than celebrity. Tonight's human interest story is not entertainment. I want to be very clear. To me, it's a tragedy. Two teenagers went to a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas. One never came home, and the other is now facing decades in prison. 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was fatally stabbed during a confrontation with Carmelo Anthony, who was also 17 at the time. Now, the incident reportedly began under a team tent during rainy weather when Anthony was asked to leave an area connected to Memorial High School's team. Now, what happened next became the heart of the trial. Prosecutors argued that Anthony escalated the confrontation by using a knife and stabbing Metcalf in the chest. Now, the defense argued that Anthony acted in self-defense, saying he feared for his safety in a fast-moving confrontation between teenagers. Now, Anthony did not deny stabbing. The legal question was why it happened. Was it self-defense, sudden passion, or flat-out murder? Now, so Austin's family is grieving a son, a brother, a future stolen life. Carmelo's family is now grieving a young man entering the prison system for much of his adult life. So tonight, this is not about choosing spectacle over sensitivity. This is about school violence, race, self-defense, punishment, accountability, and whether the legal system knows how to handle tragedy when everyone else involved is still so young. All right, let's go to you really quickly, Attorney Carter. This is still just resonating to me. What makes a jury, in your mind, reject self-defense in a case like this? Was it evidence shifts during the whole trial? What was it that convinced them? Or was it the composition of the jury members?
Let's go with what the information was that the jury got. Because remember, they weren't, reading what was online, et cetera, and where it's supposed to be. This is what was presented for them. All right. So what they knew and what witnesses came and testified is that morning it starts raining at this track meet. It starts raining so bad that, people start scurrying. The kids from Carmelo's school, they don't have a tent. So some of them are in the bus, go back to the bus. Others of them are sitting in the rain. Carmelo goes into this tent. And at the time, he's there by himself. He does notice, he does recognize one other kid there. And so he daps him up, and they know each other, and then he goes and sits to himself. The other kids are all saying, wait a minute, this is our tent. It's like being in our locker room in basketball. And their coach said, hey, this is our tent. You don't let people in our tent because this is our place. And so all the kids are saying, hey, you got to get out of our tent. This for 15 requests. They're like, get out of our tent, get out of our tent. And Carmelo's response, according to, I'm reading trial testimony, he says, move me, make me, all right, touch me and find out. And he says, y'all a bunch of P words, and y'all not going to do nothing about me being in this tent. So at that point, Austin says, you know what? I'm the captain here. I'm supposed to be responsible for getting you out. And he goes up to Carmelo. Now, this is where the testimony conflicts.
Okay.
Some people say that he shoved Melo. Other people say that that he gave him a kind of tackle and tried to get him out of the chair. Other people say he just put his hand on his shoulder. What was testified is right before this happened, right at this point, he says to Carmelo, allegedly, according to the witnesses who testified, I don't want to have a fight here. And when he puts his hand on Melo, no matter how he did, whether he shoved him or pushed him or whatever, Melo had been sitting there with his hand in a backpack. And when Austin the kid touched him, he boom stabs him right in the chest. And by the way, the coroner explains that it's not easy to get to someone's heart, all right, through your chest with a blade. You got to really use some force. It's not a slashing move or whatever. And then that's what happened. And so here's the thing is that, this is what the jury heard going into it. And so their question was, the narrative that's been that the defense raised was, this is a scared kid, and he just acted out of fear. He thought everybody was going to beat him up. And what the jury heard was a defiant young man who said, I kick everybody's butt, called them P words, and who overreacted to a physical touch, assault or whatever it is. And while you have a right to self-defense, it has to be to a threat that's deadly to you.
Correct.
And not just someone who has touched you, assaulted you. Even if someone slaps you in the face, you don't get to stab them. You have to have a commensurate threat. And so the jury didn't see him as a scared little black kid. Now, it didn't help that there were no blacks in the jury, and that wasn't intentional. All right. So they didn't see him as a scared kid. And the truth of the matter is, what was testified didn't give the impression of a scared kid. Now, remember, who didn't testify in that case was Carmelo. He could have told that tale, but there was, if you're the defendant, you don't have to testify. And as a result, there are lots of things that the jury only heard one side of the case, and the side of the case they heard was really damaging.
Hold on, please, because we have a time limit here. I want to go to you really quickly, Attorney Rawls. I want a legal answer as a lawyer, and then I want a non-legal answer as a parent. Do you think the 35 years was too excessive? Do you think that there could have been a better way to make a legal self-defense argument? What are your thoughts here? I want the lawyer's version, and then I want the parent's version.
In Florida, a young man was convicted of murder and rape, assault, R word, forgive me, please. And he was sentenced to life in prison.
Mm-hmm.
The United States Supreme Court ruled on appeal that a juvenile has a right to redemption and that they cannot be convicted for life. The threshold rough answer is it's about 40 years. So this judge, knowing that law, sentenced him to just about 30, almost the end of the 40 years. So 35 plus 19, he'll be, don't get me to doing math, right? He'll be 53 years old when he gets out. He'll never know what life is like outside of that. The world will be a completely different place when he comes out.
Okay, so legally,
I think legally speaking, it's a bit long. I'm sorry that a person lost their life that can never be replaced, but I do believe that juveniles need an opportunity to redeem themselves in society if that's possible. And I understand it, but I think it's a bit long.
Okay, Jason Weiss, Attorney Weiss, tell me your thoughts on this legally, and then as a parent of a son.
So, right. So one of the things that, and I'm not as into the case and all the details, but why did he have a blade or a knife in his backpack at a school event? And that's the question. Look, my son played lacrosse in high school. My daughter is a cheerleader and plays lacrosse in high school. And I would not be happy if I knew a kid on the other team had a weapon in their backpack, bringing it to a school event like that. That's problem number one. Look, if it were my kid that were made unalive, I would want the person that did it to suffer immensely. And if you can't have life, I would want 39.999 years. If that was my kid that did it, then I would want, I would want therapy. I would want treatment. He'd need to be punished. He'd need to learn right from wrong. But at the same time, I would want, like Attorney Ross said, the opportunity for my kid to rehabilitate and to get straight.
All right, so let me ask the question that I think a lot of people might. Well, I'm asking. Okay, why is it that Luigi, a white male, can shoot and kill a insurance CEO and go basically get ready to walk free or get a slap on the hand? This young man, gets into what could be considered, defense, like self-defense, and he's getting 35 years. Someone explain to me, why does it appear for us outsiders who didn't go to law school that the legal system is so biased?
Let me just say this. In this one case, part of the problem is that a lot of us got our information from the internet. I've seen some people in here saying that I didn't do my research here. Please understand that I went to Harvard Law School and they taught me how to do research. I actually have cases. You can please email me, Sean at MasonCLE.com. I will send you the actual research because I actually didn't get my information from Tootie642 on Twitter. And so a lot of people are upset about a situation because they don't really understand the facts. They keep saying he was invited into the tent. He was not invited into the tent. At least no one testified at trial that he was invited to the tent. All right. The people are saying that, he was fearful, he was beaten within an inch of his life. Not at all. He was touched one time. And I understand that you don't want to be touched, but you don't get to kill people as a result of touching them. Now, here's the thing is, I don't think he should have got 35 years either. All right. But I'm telling you why the jury came to this decision. And it wasn't just because they hate black people. And by the way, they probably do. All right. A lot of people do. I'm not crazy about a lot of black people in these comments right now. All right. But I didn't say it. All right. And so the point is that don't act like because you saw it on the internet that somehow it's true. Right. All right. What you saw on the internet was people who just have, the knowledge you have.
I totally agree, Attorney Carter, because, we will turn something into a racial situation depending on how it's marketed to us. But let me ask you a question, Attorney Ross. Billy Littles 718 has a very good question here.
You watched the trial? Really? Where'd you watch it? Because you were at the trial? Because it wasn't on TV.
No, hold on 1 second, please. Attorney Ross, please explain how they managed to get intent with murder 1 rather than manslaughter.
Well, because when part of it was you had a knife, right? When you have a weapon on you, you always face a tough presumption that you intend to use it. Now, Texas is a weapon carry friendly state, as is Florida, right? As is a lot of the South. But with that possession comes a presumption in the minds of people, the prosecutors really, that you would be willing to use that, as opposed to you walk into a bar and there's a pool stick there, right? Right. And you got into a fight and you use and whack somebody over the head and they die. Right, that's a different presumption. So when he has a weapon in his backpack, that creates a presumption that, to the hostility of the conversation, as Attorney Carter outlined very professionally. I don't know which one of y'all made him mad. Don't do that again, please. But outlined professionally. And look at his face, y'all. I mean, look at his face. He's not in a good mood. Whoever made him mad, please send this man to Roof Chris Steakhouse tomorrow. So. That what I do want to ask you judges.
Make it quick. We're on the time.
One thing. How do you get an all-white jury panel though? Right? Yeah. I've done it. I've picked 100 juries. I've seen what the prosecutors do. Right? Mm-hmm. They do systematically move to strike black juror members. I don't care. I said it. Come get me. Right? But how does that happen? You couldn't get one. You couldn't get.
I know that was a whole nother thing that had me concerned too. It's just like, but then again, I'm tired of us using the same excuses. It is the state of Texas, but unfortunately, I got to keep it moving, guys. This is where we hold two truths at the same time, right? Austin Metcalf's life mattered. His family's pain is real. Nothing about supporting Carmelo Anthony's humanity should erase the fact that a young man did lose his life. Now, that we won't do. But what we also have to ask, though, is when a black teenager is convicted in a case that becomes this racially charged, can we really say race, privilege, social pressure, and perception plays no role in how the story is told? Hey, I don't know. And especially when you have all white juries, that does not mean the jury was racist. It means the system definitely deserves scrutiny. And thank goodness there's something called appeal. Now, who gets seen as sacred and who gets seen as dangerous or who gets seen as scared? That's the question that I have. Who gets complexity and who gets condemnation? Why does it always seem to be one of us? Who gets rehabilitation and who gets decades? That's another question. Carmelo Anthony was 17 years old. A 35-year life sentence forces us to ask whether justice was really served or whether America still struggles to see young black defendants as children capable of fear, pain, mistakes, and like Brian said, redemption. So the question tonight is not only whether the verdict was legal, the harder question is whether the outcome was just. All right, drop down in the chat. Let me see what you think. Was this fair now that you heard all of the background story of it? Is it fair? Or do you think there should have been some space open for redemption? Drop down in the chat. I want to hear from you, A-listers. Is it fair? Or do you think that there's some space here for redemption? He is only 17 years old, but a life was taken. All right, drop down in the chat. I want to hear what everyone has to say. My John CJ Boy says, again, this is Texas. Hello, different laws for Black Americans opposed to white Americans. It would not have mattered how the situation occurred. All right, everybody, this is the part of the show that we go to you, the A-listers, at our jury, who we call our jury, for final deliberations. You get to decide who's guilty or not guilty in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. That's right, guilty or not guilty in the Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. First up, Zahara, is Brad Pitt guilty of causing so much stress in that household that the daughter wants to drop his name? Is Brad Pitt guilty or not guilty? Drop down in the chat right now. Is Brad Pitt guilty or not guilty? Drop down in the chat. Is Brad Pitt guilty or not guilty, creating an environment where Zahara decides that she don't want anything to do with his last name because of his behavior? Drop it down in the chat. Is Brad Pitt guilty or not guilty? Spar 5132 says not guilty. NY Marie says guilty. So we got one guilty and one not guilty. Drop down in the chat. Is Brad Pitt guilty? Colette Davis says guilty. Case said, I don't care. All right, we got two guilties and one not guilty. Is Brad Pitt guilty or not guilty? Drop down in the chat. Is Brad Pitt guilty or not guilty? Drop down in the chat. All right. Lakita75 says guilty. Brad Pitt, you've been found guilty. Guilty in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Let's go to P. Diddy. Is P. Diddy guilty or not guilty based on what we're hearing on these claims? Is P. Diddy guilty or not guilty of sexually assaulting a minor? Drop down in the chat really quickly. Is P. Diddy guilty or not guilty? Drop down in the chat. Is P. Diddy guilty or not guilty for sexually assaulting a minor? Charlene Lambert says he's guilty. Is P. Diddy guilty or not guilty for sexually assaulting a minor? Colette Davis says not guilty. Spar 5132 says not guilty. Blaze Brown says guilty. So we have a tie here. The jury is tied, but Billy Littles has changed it. Guilty of everything accused. All right, P. Diddy, you have been found once again guilty here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Next up is Sorsby. Yep, the young man that gambles, who's the quarterback. Is he guilty or not guilty of beating the system? I guess that's the question here. I mean, he's beat the system. Is he guilty or not guilty? Is the quarterback guilty or not guilty for beating the system? Drop down in the chat. Is he guilty or not guilty? Drop down in the chat. The quarter. Okay, Spar 51 says he's guilty. He's guilty for beating the system. All right. Blaze Brown says guilty. And Christine R says guilty. All right. We're going to find Sorsby. You have been found guilty here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Next up, DaBaby. Is DaBaby guilty or not guilty for wrongdoing? Even though he settled, is he guilty or not guilty? Drop down in the chat. Is DaBaby guilty or not guilty? Even though he settled, my Jones CJ Boy says guilty. Is he guilty or not guilty? Is DaBaby Sandra McGee says guilty. No, the quarterback's guilty. Okay, let's go back to DaBaby. Is DaBaby? Essie Stone said DaBaby is guilty. Guilty or not guilty? One more. Spar's been not guilty. Spar, we don't want you on the jury. No grant.
Guilty.
All right, Claire Davis says guilty. All right, DaBaby, we've been found guilty. Guilty here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. All right, everybody, this is what we learned tonight. Tonight's lesson is simple. Names are messages. Allegations aren't verdicts. Courts can rewrite sports rules overnight, obviously. Settlements in cases, not opinions, and verdicts don't erase grief. I'm Judge Al Reynolds, Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the share button. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. Always, don't forget to follow us at Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. And here is my Cash App for my birthday if anyone's interested, $Al Scales. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Thank you for my lawyers for joining us. Everyone have a great weekend, and court is now adjourned.
And celebrate Judge Reynolds this weekend, everyone.
That's right.
Along with the New York